What's up? Hey, I've got a ZT zero tolerance here in this box, and yeah, it's a 0562 titanium hinderer, KVT bearings, 20 CV steel. Yeah, and so I found a good deal on this, and I purposely said, I'm gonna get it because, man, it seems like lately I've had my run at like Kizer knives and a few others that just have that hinderer vibe. Now, this isn't a hinderer, but it is a legit hinderer design. And so I thought to myself, well, I already have one, but I'm going to get a new one. I got a great deal on it, and so I thought, man, it'd be great to just get I don't have a $600, $800 hinder, $400, $500, but now I do have a few legit hinder design knives, whether it's with zero tolerance, Kershaw, there's a couple others. And so, yeah, 0562, man, let's get this blade out of here. Look at this thing. Come on, man. I mean, these are definitely like next level pieces. They just are. There's knives. How do I want to say this? I mean, these are a full package. How about that? We'll go through the review and just go that way. But just know, I have a couple of these. I have a G10 and a titanium version, and I may purge out one of the other ones. I guess maybe I'll keep this one because I am liking this stonewash titanium, 100% titanium. It's got a beautiful flat ground 20 CV blade on it. Nice. Yeah, these are legit, man. Like, it's just hard to find fault when you're talking about a knife like this, or specifically this knife. It's just hard to come with the criticism. There are some things going on here, like thumb studs, and then really hard to stay off the lock bar here. And that is not easy to do right there. Yeah, these aren't designed necessarily to be flicking them. I think I am going to track this lock and see where I'm locked up here and how far that goes in. I mean, it doesn't feel bad, and it definitely has just super hydraulic drop shut action. Very snappy, but yeah, this is just shy of being worthless right there. I'm really having to dig in there. Now, if this knife got worked a little bit, broke in, versus changing the detent on the knife, maybe that gets easier. And y'all know how many times I get into a knife like I'm about to do here, and just simply getting into it and checking it in and, going through the knife, it improves. So not a locked pivot. Isn't that kind of stunning? It's like, well, what's that about? I don't know. You tell me and we'll both know, man. Yep, but not locked. But I got 2 screwdrivers, so no need to fret. Yeah, it's in there backwards. I think I can remedy that, but we'll find out. Let's go to this side. We'll pull this side, since that's the side that came out of. I'll stay consistent. We'll pull this scale off the top here. And if in the end I can't reverse that, this is where I would be anyways. I would be over on this side. So the pocket clip design, it actually rides It's reversible, but it rides on the inside of the scale. So it's mounted in there. Yeah, pretty cool. And that, I believe, is a T10. Let's get a T10 and check it. Yep. I don't think the pivot is, though. Now, the pivot is a T8. But that pocket clip screw is a T10. Kind of odd, right? Like out of nowhere, T10. All right, I think the scale will pop up on us now. It's got tight fitment issues, but yeah, there it is. And I mean, look at the ball bearings in this thing. I mean, cage bearings, I guess I should say. Is that not incredible? So let me look at this. Yeah, so there's nothing here that says I can't come in from the front, which would mean I can reverse this and then press all this down on top of the knife to reassemble. So in order to do that, I'm going to pull all these screws and move all of those barrel spacers to the other side, to the bottom scale. Yep. Much easier to assemble, disassemble the knife. Got to get it apart and clean it. I mean, that's the priority. I want it coming from the bottom up. I think I'm going to leave the pocket clip on. There's no reason for me to disassemble that. This can press down, and then the screw come up from the bottom on it. But yeah, we just need to clean it all up. It's got a wonderful, beautiful detent ball. Let me look at where we're lined up here now. So I think when it's locked, it was over there. Yeah, pretty close. And so I don't think I'm going to really take any off of that. It'd be nice to have better action with these studs, but in the end, it's a great flipper knife, and that's probably my primary use of the knife anyways. I don't know that I'd be looking to Spidey flick this big bad dude. So I think I'm going to leave it be. A little wipe down. We'll reassemble. Yeah, I mean, pretty impressive. And to be honest, all my zero tolerance knives, I don't think I have a dog in a pile. You know, I think there was some concerns at one point that ZT was moving away from their base of larger overbuilt pieces. But I think what we're finding right now is that, I mean, they're continuing to, build on their traditions. They're just bringing some newer, maybe more modern, streamlined options. Does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but I think what I'm saying is you understand where I'm kind of what I'm saying with that. I'm gonna put these screws in and get these barrel spacers mounted from the bottom up. Not sure why, but man, that seemed tight there. Let me get a different one. What's that about? Not sure. So I have not done a lot of videos lately, and I have had some issues in my world. My wrestler has been being bullied. Isn't that crazy? So state champ, national All-American, several times over. I mean, 4.0 grade point average. Just a solid person. I mean, all around. Like, having good grades don't make you a solid person, right? Being a wrestler don't make you a solid person. But, the sum total of these things, it's not far-fetched when somebody says, yeah, she's a pretty solid kid, Got her head on her shoulders. She doesn't get involved in drama. She's got a real good sense of values and principles, a hard worker, she's not down for stupid, and yet, some boys have decided that she's what needs to be talked about and dealt with. Yeah, it's just stunning, man. And I am struggling with how to respond to it all. I'm trying to do the right thing. But whoo-wee, is that difficult. I mean, I have done some tough things in my life, but watching my daughter, who, I'm not saying she's a saint, but in no way has done anything to deserve the things that are being said about her, to her, around her, the aggressive behavior towards her is stunning. It's just stunning. And yeah, I'm not sure that I'm getting the correct response from the school either. And so that's frustrating. Something tells me that I'm dealing with old school administration that when it comes to girls' problems, they need to get them swept under the rug as quick as possible. Yeah, so anyways, why am I sharing it? I don't know. Probably because I gotta get it off my chest, man. It's driving me nuts. It's consuming me. And not in a good way. Is there, lessons to be learned here? Opportunities for growth and, forged in the fire type stuff? Sure. Yep. It's definitely helpful to have a faith and a good understanding of how God moves in our lives, those kinds of things. But boy, I can tell you that as a father, watching his baby girl go through something. I mean, and listen, there's definitely got to be a sense of reality. Are there fathers right now on the channel watching this video that have been through so much worse? Maybe a health issue with a child or a loved one, or, it's important to keep things in perspective, I guess. It's like, we all want to think that our struggle is the worst struggle, but so many times, you know, if we just slow down, it's not, you know, and it could be so much, let's say, worse. You know what I mean? So, you know, I had the opportunity the other day to talk to a friend, and he has gone through some work drama this last summer. And of course, you know, he's landed, moved on, things are improving in his life, and the issues that were before him are settling. And I keep doing this, y'all, because there is the slightest little wiggle in there, and I can't get rid of it. I think I did there finally. Nope. Nope, it is still there. Just the tiniest little wiggle. It's like, man, come on. I mean, it's like I've tried to adjust it out of there. I think that's 10. That's the 10th time. I think I got it now because the action's affected. Yeah, there it is. Pretty nice. I mean, I'll take a little drag on the action like that versus that wiggle. I didn't want that wiggle in there. Yeah, so much nicer. All right. Well, hey. So, let me finish that story. So, you know, I've had that happen a few times in my career. I mean, I'm quite a few ticks over 60 at this point. I know that's shocking because I represent such a young, virile dude. But I've had a few bumps in my road like that through my life. And what I've learned to do is to try to start to focus on the positive things in my current situation versus focusing on the negative things on the situation that has passed. And it's hard to do because that's the stuff that'll wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning and grind your gears. You can't go back to sleep. Obsessed by, well, why did that happen? And, who said what? And that person was supposed to be my friend. And, and it's like, I mean, I just feel like they pulled the rug out from underneath me. And, what could I have done different? And, I mean, pretty quick, it's 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. You got to go work, and you spent the whole night just grinding this whole thing that A is past, B, there's nothing you can do about it. And so one of the things that I know I try to do is to look at my current situation and find the positives in it. And, the best example I have is, a long time ago, I broke up. I had a marriage that failed, and I had some children involved in it. And it 100% is one of the worst things in my life is watching my two sons grow up without their dad in that space. And when I look back at it, it's horrible. What a terrible thing to happen. What a horrible memory. But see, here comes that thing about regret. And regret's a funny thing because, do I wish that never happened and that my boys grew up with their father? I do, man. Maybe more than anything. But would I change anything? And I wouldn't, because that means that I wouldn't have my current wife. I wouldn't have my middle son. I wouldn't have my young daughter. I wouldn't have had anything that I have since that moment. And so, I don't know why these things happen. I surely don't claim to be wise and go, well, this happened for that reason and this reason. But I do know that had that not happened, I wouldn't have the amazing blessings that I have in my life today. And so, regrets, from that perspective, nah. And so I try to find the things that are good about where I'm at now. Looking back, I mean, man, it can be delicate sometimes, and doing too much of it can cause you to not sleep. You got to be careful. Let's talk about this action, man. Move on. This is a long, it's therapy for me, y'all. I could tell you 100% it's therapy for me today. I am struggling to do exactly what I just said. I'm struggling to take my mind off of what I want to do, which is protect my daughter, and think about all of the good things that are currently here for her, and that this struggle is just going to strengthen her. Should be okay. It's difficult though, man. Fathers and all the fathers out there, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to say especially little girls, because we feel the same way about our little boys. I mean, it's the reason I'm on this earth. I'm convinced of it. Take that away, and I mean, so the action on this thing. All right, I'll move on, man. I appreciate y'all listening to me, though. I'm grinding my gears, and y'all are my audience. But, and you know what? I'm gonna thank y'all in advance, because I know some of y'all already are gonna have good wishes for me, for my family, for my daughter, and so thank you for that. I mean, if we were live, some of y'all be blowing me up right now, and so maybe that's why I'm saying it, because yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing what this bench has evolved into for me, tinkering with knives and collecting. And, this was kind of like my isolated thing, and opening it up to this channel has kind of changed it. Like, I get to talk, and, before, I guess I'd pretty much, and I've said this before on the channel, I kind of just sat here doing my own thing. It's kind of rare to run into, somebody else that's got the passion for, these pieces of titanium and steel like I do. I say rare, but I mean in our own individual circle. In my circle, I show it to people, and they're like, "Yeah, you got anything to drink in the fridge?" It's kind of one of those things. Well, so it's kind of evolved into something, man, and so obviously, it's more than just shuffling through steel and titanium for me. It's an outlet for me, a little bigger than that, and so I've said this before. It's like I'm still just kind of talking to myself, right? Like, you're not really here, but maybe it's a communication with some of you, the comments and the emails and the texts, and on that level, it's taken it to a more personal level for me. So, anyways, man, let me move on with this this knife, so that those of you that are like, blah, 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 bro, wrap up. Let's talk about this piece. I can get you through this thing. So the action on these, it's just stunning. I mean, drop shut. This flipper tab, it's oh so good. Let me try that thumb stud, see if it's gotten any better. I mean, maybe it's better. I still don't think I can spidey flick it, though. It's just too tight. Like, I'm almost pressing on the lock bar to get in. I think I am. And so, I let me see. I'm going to try my... Plus, in order to get it, like, my fingers get up on here, like, to get that right. So, I'm going to try everything I can to get just right on it. And, no, I'm going to say not for me. Access to the lock, to the frame lock, it's scalloped. It's lowered slightly here. So it's easy access, very intuitive to just reach in and get that. Yeah, for what it is, pardon me, I'm going to say A-level action for sure. Yeah, it's just wonderful. Ergonomics, wonderful contouring. This one's all titanium, but I have a G10 version as well. It's the same. I mean, this hinderer design, it's what I talk about in some other knives. Just so locked in. Confident or not so confident, very confident. Whoop. Yeah, these just slide up off the scale, man. So locked in with these knives. Excellent combat jimping on the tip of the spine where the thumb goes. Push into that. The only way to get through it is to release tension or to shred your thumb. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, completely locked in. It's got a reverse grip that's really nice. Very easy to cap it with the thumb here. And then I can get here if I'm going to hammer. Now, it's not intuitive in the grip nature of itself, but I can if I take my time. If I know I'm going to hammer or I want to take on this grip, I can dig in here and it's pretty confident. It's not the most comfortable, let me put it that way, but I can get this right here. And this is man, this is a skull cracker right here. Wow. Yeah, so pocket clip. How's that thing run? I think it's going to run pretty good. Get it over the thick stuff and boom. Completely hidden knife. Nice big pocket clip though. It's not a small pocket clip. Very smooth. One hand in, one hand out. Pretty decent tension. Here in standard jean size material against that titanium, I'm going to say that needs a little more tension. Yep, it's pretty loose. And then my spot in the back pocket back here, I mean, it's such a deep carry knife that, I mean, it's in there pretty good, but it definitely needs some tension. So I think I'm going to try to modify that real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let me show. In order to deal with this pocket clip, you literally have to pull the screw out of both sides of this pivot, and then the pocket clip will come out. Okay, so now that I've got it out, I'm going to treat it like any other pocket clip. I'm going to put a bend in that, which will create tension. So I want to protect it. I don't want to mar it up. And I don't want to go too far. But I do got to get a little extra tension in there because that was not working very well at all. And this is a knife, man, that it has a lot of options. I mean, you can get clips for this and different tips and, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can pick up here. So this kind of needs to go in at the same time, sort of like so. Yep. And then to get it locked down, I'm going to come in with the screw from the top. And remember now, these are T10s. Okay. And let's get that bottom one started as well. Make sure everything's lined up correctly. And then I'll cinch all that down. And with that tension on it, I mean, you got to be kind of cautious about making sure that you've caught threads and, you don't kind of want to run it that willy-nilly. Now, I've got, the clip is in there, right? But now all these body screws, all that had to be loosened to create space for that to come out. So now I'm going to kind of tighten my way back forward. Yeah, way more tension in that clip now. There we go. Everything's lining up properly. Come back here again. And then the pivot. Let me check my pocket clip one more time. I know the video is getting long because I was in here having therapy session. Good grief. All right. A little tension, a little tension, a little tension. We'll come back to the back here. Yep. And then let me check my pivot one more time. Yeah, a little more. I think I got it. Yep. All right. Let's rerun this pocket clip. Did we resolve the issue? Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, there's some tension there on this thick stuff. I mean, that's 100% dryer, survive a F5 tornado. You know, the pants would be ripped off me, but the knife would still be in the pocket when they found them. Yeah, much better here. This is standard jeans thickness material, dryer clip. I mean, it sticks in there. And so, the main point when I do something like this to a clip is to say, if you're wearing thinner pants, I mean, you can modify that clip. And the question is, will it work? Well, on this particular clip with this knife, you can definitely get the kind of tension that you need on it to retain the knife in your pocket. Upside down, running down, on the ground, scrambling around. When you reach back for this piece, with that clip adjusted properly, that knife's going to be there. What about safety on a knife like this? Yeah, there's no blade contact there, and the tip is recessed below the scales. So the tip is good. The clip is awesome now, and I'm confident I can handle this knife any way I want, and I'm not going to catch the sharp part. Speaking of the sharp part, does this thing come out sharp, or do I got to get it there? I mean, maybe a tiny strop wouldn't hurt this knife. Let's try it. Okay, here we go. Well, I just stropped it a little bit. I didn't do a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy sharp now. I mean, it was sharp before. I think it just needed a little bit of strop work. Look at that. Smooth jazz, man. Right through that. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So, a zt0562 full titanium. Where are they? And where can we get one? How much? So, one of the great things about reviewing a knife like this is it gives me a chance to talk about some sideline stuff. Like, for instance, this is an incredibly copied knife. There are clones everywhere. And so I have a rule about knives that are knowingly cloned. Now, can they start cloning one and I'm not aware of it? Like all of a sudden, this Echo is being cloned. Would I know? I don't know. Now, here again, it's a $50 knife or whatever. So it's not quite the same. This is not a $50 knife. But they're crazy heavily cloned. So I have a rule about cloned knives. If I'm aware that they're cloned at all, like for instance, one of the recent knives that are being cloned, I say recent, but let's say within the last 6 months or so, is the Chavez knife. And so once a knife falls into that category for me, I'm only purchasing that knife under certain circumstances. I mean, I may pick one up on the secondary market, but boy, that's got to be a vetted seller, and there's got to be things like one of the things on this particular knife is having barcodes and serial numbers that match up, on the knife and then on the box as well. You don't find that with clones. There's other visual clues, different components of an actual zero tolerance knife versus the clone. Or the direct manufacturer themselves or a very reputable seller. Now, are there stories of reputable sellers getting hoodwinked on clones? Yeah, I've heard them. I've heard those stories where a seller purchased some inventory, and lo and behold, the inventory they had, the distributor, the dealer, was cloned. And so, can it happen? Yeah, but here's my thought about a reputable dealer. If for any reason somehow the knife that I have is found to be a clone, because it's a reputable dealer, I'll expect them to do the right thing. Yeah. So I guess how do I wrap that up? Be careful. You know, a lot of these zero tolerance knives are cloned heavily, and boy, it takes a little bit of work to make sure that you're getting a legit knife. And just because it's new in the box from somebody doesn't mean that it's not a clone. I mean, you know, I see sellers like on eBay all the time, and there's kind of a rule that says, hey, if the deal's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Like, for instance, you know, uh, I think one of the best places to pick one of these up right now is Amazon. Can you get a clone on Amazon? Yeah, you could. If for whatever reason you think that the one you got is a clone, can you just return it? You can. And under Amazon's return policy, they'll even give you a label and you don't even have to put it in a box. You would just put it back in here and take it to the UPS store, whatever, and they'll handle it all. So the return policy, the ability of Amazon to stand behind that purchase is a big deal. Now, they also have a no clone fraud policy that if they found out somebody was selling a clone on their site, I think they take it pretty serious and they bump them. Um, so does that afford some comfort in purchasing from them? Yeah, it does. The other thing is the price. I mean, these tend to go for, you know, anywhere from, you know, let's say reasonably 275 to, you know, like 325, somewhere in that nature. You can find them maybe for a little more and you can find them maybe for a little less. Amazon, you can buy this pretty regularly for about $250. Well, I mean, you know, if the price that I'm finding everywhere is, you know, 260, 275, or let's say I'm finding it for 250 at three places, and one of those places is Amazon, me personally, I'm probably going to drop it on the Amazon site. Just because of the protections I'm afforded there from fraud. And, you know, if I get it and for whatever reason the action on it's junk or it's defective, I'm not, you know, a lot of dealers, what you're going to hear is, well, you have to send it back to ZT. You have to do this or that. And I'm not against any of the dealers, man. I want them to survive and earn whatever. But if it's me, all things equal, I'd probably opt out for Amazon. Now, if I had a dealer that I had a relationship with, local, whatever, you see what, obviously I'd go that route. I mean, I don't want to push out the little man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, if you have a reputable dealer and he can be reasonable on the price, why not? But the best access that I see to these knives right now is through Amazon. This one's about $250, and that's a great price. And they're not that easy to find. Not everybody has them, but Amazon has them. So, anyways, man, that's my story on the zt0562ti. Yeah, I appreciate you watching, and man, is it a good knife. You know, I had a guy reach out to me recently, and he was going to buy one knife, and he wanted me to tell him which one. Well, but his budget was like $100. I mean, if you can afford it, if your budget's 100, save for another 3 months or whatever, and make the budget 250 and buy this knife. If this was your all around, you know, backyard, in the garage, in your pocket, I mean, you wouldn't regret it. You most definitely would not wake up one day and go, man, I wish I had not that knife. Nuh-uh. Yeah, this thing will take it, man. Yep, and then you can hand it down as well. It'll survive it. I appreciate y'all watching.